This is the Impressions Xchange podcast.
Impressions Xchange podcast,
where all topics impacting the graphic imaging and printing industry are addressed via in-depth news coverage, analysis, and timely interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Impressions Xchange podcast. I'm Ashley Roberts, managing editor of the Printing and Packaging Group at NAPCO Media. Today, I will be joined by Cassie Green, senior content editor of Apparelist, who will give us an inside look at what the apparel community can expect at Printing United Expo, which is heading to Las Vegas, October 19th to the 21st. We talk about the new Apparel Zone, future state theater, and the ample networking opportunities that attendees can take advantage of. Cassie, thank you so much for being with me today.
Yeah, really excited to join. Thanks for having me.
Obviously, you are totally in the apparel space with Apparelist. And I know that this year, Printing United Expo has some really big plans for the apparel community. So can you kind of talk about what the community can expect at Printing United Expo this year?
Definitely. If you kind of backpedal a little bit, previous years, it's no secret that apparel has sort of been lost, right? There's been fewer things for apparel decorators and the apparel printers at large, but the apparel community is obviously a huge community of printers. So this year we're pushing a couple things really hard for the apparel community. The most obvious is that there are going to be quite a few equipment manufacturers and blank suppliers at the show. So in a traditional trade show sense, there will be lots to see, right? So you will be able to see the equipment, you will be able to talk to the suppliers in that setting. But beyond that, we will have a couple more interactive things like the Apparel Zone, the Future State Theater, we'll have podcasts, we'll have all sorts of interactive things to do. So really, it's about more than just going to a show. It's about building a community and an experience.
Great. So is there going to be I want to touch on a few things that you mentioned, but first, is there going to be like networking, or do you expect like a lot of the apparel community to come and be able to like meet with each other? And
absolutely, networking is a huge part of this community, especially because the last few years, obviously, we haven't had a chance to get together. So I mentioned the Apparel Zone. Within that zone, there will be like a cafe, which is a great place to grab a cup of coffee and just chat, whether you want to chat with your peers, you want to chat with some exhibitors, you want to chat with some of the industry names from that you might know as just good educators. So that really provides a great area. I also mentioned the podcast area, which we'll be doing some shows. Obviously, there are some big ones that are popular in the apparel community. Two regular guys will be there, not only recording their podcast, but there to just chat with people and get to know each other a little bit. So I would say those are like the top networking opportunities.
That's great. And I know, I spoke with Mark Subers on a recent episode, and we were talking about how large this event is going to be and how people need to have their walking shoes. So it'll be a nice opportunity for people to kind of kick back, relax a little bit. You said grab a coffee, rest their weary feet from walking around the show floor.
I will probably be taking advantage of that as well. So, grab a cup of coffee, sit down, take a minute, totally acceptable.
Yeah, I agree. I'm all for that. So let's talk about the Apparel Zone. You mentioned that there's going to be kind of some networking opportunity in this area, but what else? What is it? Tell me about it.
Yeah, so the Apparel Zone is a new and sort of unique take on education, right? So some people might say, oh, there's no classroom education. Well, that's because we're taking it to the show floor. The Apparel Zone will be true hands-on training. All of the disciplines are going to be represented. We'll have DTF there, which is, the latest, greatest new kid on the block. DTG, screen printing, embroidery, heat transfers, sublimation systems, software even. So really, rather than sitting in a classroom, listening to experts talk, you'll get to listen to experts talk, but also interact with the equipment. You'll get to see the process from start to finish. You'll get to ask the questions and then see real time your questions get answered and proven through these different methods. We'll have guided tours, which Josh Caruth will be leading, and that will kind of help walk you through. But of course, you can always walk through, stop and ask questions. Feel free to have a little free time through there. So we wanted to take this new approach to education and really kind of blow it out of the water, right? Really give people a chance to educate themselves about what the equipment does. And the apparel zone is going to do that. It's going to be huge. It's massive, right? It can be overwhelming to see all of those things. But because you have multiple days at the show, you can walk through, take your time, and get just a really immersive experience.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. And especially the fact that you said it's an immersive experience. You know, everyone learns differently. And I think, actually having that kind of real world touch where you're seeing the equipment, getting to talk to the experts, I think that's fantastic. A really great approach to education.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest pieces of feedback we've gotten. So look, back when Printing United did its show in 2019, we had people out on the floor asking for feedback. What is it we could do better? What is it we can provide? How can we make this show a better experience? And the hands down, one of the biggest points of feedback we received is there's some hands-on training that's needed. Needs to be a better approach to education. Well, we listened, we're doing it. And that's what the Apparel Zone is about.
Very cool. Very cool. I'm excited to check it out. So one of the other things you mentioned was future state. What is future state? I love the name. So what is it?
Well, I guess when I say future state, like one of the first things that comes to mind is like sleek and modern, right? Future state will sort of mesh those two things together, the two things being more traditional education with a more immersive experience. So at Future State Theater, we will actually be hosting panels and presentations where we're bringing in the suppliers, the manufacturers to talk about very specific curated content. And this is where people can come in and sit down, right? But it won't be in a classroom setting. So if you want to go walk the show floor, but you happen to hear somebody talking about something that's just very interesting, stop, take a minute, sit down, listen to the presentation, but you don't have to stay. We want you to stay because there's going to be something for everybody throughout the entire show at Future State Theater. But the big thing I really want to emphasize with this is it's not just talking about your traditional canned content. We're talking about the future of the industry. We have people, lined up to speak at Future State Theater who can give you real business advice on what to do as we move through the continuing changing environment, how to better plan for business. What can we expect from 2023? Topics that we actually care about, but applied in real time. And it's going to be huge. So trust me, there will be plenty of room for everybody. You're a decorator, you're not a decorator. It's going to be the spot for you.
So it sounds like, some of the education or presentations that you touched on, are for anyone in any industry. Because you said decorators, non-decorators, doesn't matter. So it sounds like it's, everyone should check out Future State and see what it's all about, right?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Now, look, obviously there's going to be a lot of apparel talk there, right? And a lot of technology talk that's specific to apparel. But look, at the end of the day, everyone wants to know how they can better grow their business and better prepare for the unknown, right? Because if we learned anything from COVID, it's that the unknown is going to slap us in the face when we least expect it. And so there will be some content there that can very much help with that sort of training. And you can ask those tough questions and get them answered and just be better prepared.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. Business, strategies, and strategies to grow your business are always, can be absorbed by anyone, and key points can be taken back to their businesses regardless of what community. And so yeah. It's wonderful. Good to hear. So is there anything else that you would want to share with the apparel community? Anyone who's deciding whether or not to come, or maybe people who are planning to come, some tips or advice?
Advice number one is something you already said, wear your walking shoes, because even if you are only doing apparel decoration now, there is going to be so much at the expo. It's a little bit ridiculous, to know that you can see everything there. So why not explore those opportunities? Why not go just take a little peek at the packaging pavilion? Why not go take a little peek at the wide format printing equipment? That's just, trade show 101. Let's look at ways to grow. But more importantly, just bring an open heart to the community and know, like, we're here to talk to you. We're here to listen to your pain points. And this is a great place to do it. If you're not registered, you better be, because there will be some really, helpful people there who I think will have something for everyone.
Great. And I will include information for those listening on how to register and where you can get more information. So Cassie, thank you so much for joining me on this episode today. I really appreciate it. And I am so excited to see what the apparel zone and future state.
Yeah, thanks, Ashley.
For those interested in attending, I will include a link to the website, which is printingunited.com, in the show notes, where you can find out more and register. I want to thank Cassie for joining me on this episode, and thank you to all of you, our listeners. Stay tuned for the next episode of Impressions Xchange podcast.